Hi everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to crochet a solid granny square. This is a really great square for showing off any of those variegated hand-dyed yarns that you have because it ends up looking a little less busy than other granny squares and it really lets your yarn stand out and show off all the beautiful colors. This tutorial is going to accompany the Winkle Baby Blanket pattern, which is a really super cute baby lamb blanket I've made. And I'm going to be using Ravenswood Fibre Co yarn, DK weight. And this is, what color is this? Whale of a Tail? I believe this is the Whale of the Tail color, but for the tutorial I'm going to be using Never Plain. So I'm going to have my 4mm hook or size G, and all of that is in the written pattern as well. So to get started, I'm going to assume that you know all of your basic stitches, and then we're just going to breeze through the tutorial. You'll have to bear with me because, of course, it's pattern release week, and that means I have a head cold again. Never fails, every time. So what we're going to do is start with a slip knot. However you do yours may be different than mine. And throw it on your hook there. And we are going to chain 4 to start. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we are going to slip stitch into the first or the 4th chain from our hook, or the first chain that you made there. And you're going to slip stitch together to form a ring. It's a very teeny tiny ring. Okay, you really have to pull it apart to see it. Now this tail that's kind of dangling down there, I'm going to grab it from underneath and I'm just going to wrap it around, tuck it in my finger there. Okay, and I'm going to work over that tail again. So this means that you have worked over your tail twice, and it eliminates the need to do any extra sewing at the end. So when you wrap it around your finger, typically you would work over your tail once, but by wrapping it, it means that you're working over that tail twice, okay? And that just makes it a little more secure, and I feel better about it. This yarn in particular is really soft, and it's a super wash wool, so you don't want your ends slipping out on you. Okay, so now to start our square, we're going to chain 2, and this counts as your first double crochet. Then you're going to yarn over and put 2 more double crochets into that center ring. Again, making sure that you're working over that tail. Okay, so that's your first granny cluster. Chain 2 for the corner, and we're gonna see I've got my 1 loop here that I wrapped around, and I'm still working over that tail, so we hold it together just like so. 3 more double crochets into the center of the ring. Okay, chain 2 for your corner. 3 more double crochets into the center of the ring. So this is starting out just like any other granny square, right? Chain 2 for your corner, and then 3 more double crochets into the center of the ring to finish off this square here. Chain 2. Okay, now I'm going to finish off my round, but I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet, not into the top of the chain 2, okay? And that just creates a nice tight join. I like the way it looks. More than making a chain 3 and attaching to the top of the chain 3, then you end up getting these like gapey chains. And I'm really not a big fan of that look, so I always go into the top of the double crochet. So from here, I'm going to chain 2, again, counts as a double crochet, and then I'm going to double crochet into that same space. Okay, so right in there. And I'm going to double crochet into each stitch along the top of the side here, which really is just this one. Okay, and then we're at our corner. So in our corners is where we do our increases for each round. We're going to put 2 double crochets, 1, 2, and then you're going to chain 2, and then do 2 more double crochets. Now we're going to crochet into each stitch along the top of this side here, not forgetting to put our double crochet into this one. Sometimes your corner stitches may hide it a little bit, okay? We want to make sure we get into this very first one here, or else you won't have enough stitches across the top and you'll end up with a wonky square. So just putting a double crochet in each of these 1, 2, 3 double crochets from the previous round, okay? And now we're at our corner. So to do our increase, we just do 2 double crochets in the corner, chain 2, 2 double crochets in the corner. Okay, again, I'm going to pull my stitches back so that I can see this first one here. I'm going to go into each stitch along this side of the square. Okay, 2 in my corner, 2 double crochets in my corner here, chain 2, 2 double crochets in my corner. Excuse me. Pull my stitches back so I can get that first stitch in. Put a double crochet into each stitch along the side here, and then 2 in my corner, chain 2, and then 2 more in this corner. Okay, so we have completed that round. Now to join it, I'm going to join into, you guessed it, this first double crochet stitch up here. Okay, not into that chain 2. See that chain 1, chain 2? We're going to skip right over that because we want a nice tight join. We're going to go into the top of the double crochet, and that's how it should look. Okay, now we're going to chain 2 for round 3. Again, counts as a double crochet, and we're going to double crochet straight into that same space, and then in each stitch along the side here. And that's it. You just keep repeating this around and around for as long or as big as you want your square, with 2 double crochets in the corner, chain 2, 2 double crochets. And then you just make sure that you have all your double crochets in each stitch along the side of your square. Okay, I'm in my corner, 2 double crochets in the corner, chain 2, 2 double crochets. Remember to pull that corner back so you can get into that very first stitch. You don't want to miss it. And I'm just working my way around, putting 1 double crochet into the top of each stitch and doing 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets in each corner. It's that easy. So it's a really easy, really nice looking square. It's very clean and simple, and it shows off all yarns really well, solid colors or variegated colors. And it's just one of those like really simple, classy looking squares that kind of goes with everything. Really nice if you want to be doing like quilted kind of looking blankets. Okay, I'm at my corner here, doing 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. Okay, pull that stitch back so you can get into this first one here. Now, this is where it kind of becomes really obvious. So we're going to go into this last stitch here, and then where we see our chain 2, we're not going to work into anymore, okay? We've worked into our last 2 stitches. We are going to finish our round by slip stitching into the top of the first double crochet, not into that chain 2. Okay, so to the top of the first double crochet, and that's what creates those nice tight rounds. Okay, so that's how you look at the end of round 3. And I'll just do one more because that's what the pattern calls for. It calls for a 4-round granny square. So we do the same as before. We chain up 2, and then you work into that same stitch, your first double crochet, and then along the side here. Okay, putting 1 double crochet into the top of each stitch. Two double crochets in your corner, chain 2, 2 double crochets. And if you want to make sure that you have enough stitches along the side, then you can always count your one side here. Once I get to the corner, I'll count for you. And then you'll know how many stitches you should have along the 4-round square here, just to make sure that we're on the same page. So on your 4-round granny square, you should have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 stitches across the one side. Okay, so 15 stitches across every side of your 4-round square. That comes in particularly handy when you are joining them, because sometimes you can very easily miss a stitch when you're crocheting along, because we have a knot on the one side, we have our join on the one side of our square. So you have to make sure that you're getting the proper amount of stitches in on that side when you're joining all your squares up. Otherwise, it's not going to work out for you. Okay, so not doing anything different from the previous rounds. I'm just working into the top of each stitch across, 1 double crochet in each stitch. Excuse me. And when I get to my corners, I'm putting in 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. And work my way all the way around here and finish off this round so that you can see it complete. And you can see that they work up pretty quickly too, which is always nice. And once you have them all joined together, I think they create a really nice fabric. They actually have a nice drape to them. Okay, so we're coming up on the end here, and I have 3 more stitches to do. So 1, 2, and 3 into that one right there. Okay, I'm going to join my round by slip stitching into the top of the first double crochet, not into the chain 2. Okay, and I'm going to cut my yarn. Now, that's what it looks like. Now, you can sew in this end if you would like, but what I do is I insert my hook into the back loop right here, yarn over and weave that through, okay, into the next back loop, weave it through. Now I'm going to do that for 4 or 5 stitches. This is how I did my whole blanket. I just weave it into the next 4 or 5 stitches. Let's go 6. Flip your square over, and we're going to go back the way we came, okay, into these back loops, which are now your front loops because they're facing you. Weave that end all the way back. And this just, I hate stopping what I'm doing and having to pick up a needle. So this makes it, I don't know, it just seems faster to me. Okay. We've worked over that tail, so you can now cut that tail off. And when I'm doing my squares, I actually leave this tail joined until I have put another round on here. Okay, if this is the outside of a blanket, or if this is you finishing off a blanket or something and it's not like an inside square, then I actually weave in the tail by sewing it in. But because I'm going to be joining all my squares and putting more stitches in here, it locks those in. Okay, but if you're finishing off a border on a blanket or something, you can't just weave it in like this and expect it to stay. It will not stay. Okay, it has to be worked over afterwards, just to be really clear about that. Okay, so there's your 4 round square. I hope it was helpful. Take care, guys.